Welcome. And my apologies for us being a little bit late. We've been facing some technical challenges. My name is Gary Younge. I am a professor of sociology at the University of Manchester and a author and broadcaster. And I'm here with the inimitable Eddy Grant, whose music I grew up with. And who was both a singer and a songwriter, but also a thinker and in a sense, an activist, I would say, after his most recent YouTube intervention following the Black Lives Matter protest called Change is Gonna Come. For those of you who did not see that, you should take the time to see that. That's largely what we are going to be, some material from there that we are going to be discussing this afternoon if you are in the Americas, this evening if you are in Europe or Africa. And I wanted to start by asking Eddy, a change is going to come, which evokes Sam Cooke, 1964, when that haunting song came out. The song actually that Obama would play at Obama rallies in 2008 when I was covering the American elections. Why that title? What were you trying to do? Do you think change is imminent or could be imminent?
I don't pick titles, so to speak. Titles pick me. I mean, who would pick Living on the Front Line or Give Me Hope, Joanna, or any one of those songs? You don't pick it, it picks you. I hadn't intended to even do that broadcast. I choose normally to write whatever it is that I want to say in song. But I think that we've reached a critical point. Sam Cooke may have sung that change is going to come. Change doesn't come. You have to make it come. And I'd suddenly decided when I saw that issue on WhatsApp that I was going to help to make change come. Let me say, first of all, Gary, that I don't have people that I like and people that I hate. My grandson gave me a fantastic title. One day, he said, "Granddad, I love the whole world." It stopped me dead because then I had to question myself as to whether I could keep up with my grandson. Could I really say that I love the whole world? And after much thinking, much thought, I said to myself, yes, I love the whole world. And love is a funny thing. Love is not something that you expect from anybody. Love is not like a drink in a bar. Love is like something that you give. You give love. And then if somebody reciprocates that love, then the world is a wonderful place. That's how I interpreted what my grandson, who was only probably 2 or 3 years old, and I remember saying it at a little get-together we had here at Bailey's Plantation to all assembled, lots of diplomats and people like that. And when I said that my grandson, out of the mouth of a babe, had said to me, he loves the whole world, I had to back up and think again. So yes, I love the whole world, and somehow I'm going to help to make people understand why a change is coming.
But when we look at the themes that are raised in um, your intervention on YouTube, it seems like the whole world doesn't love us, and by us I mean Black people, or as you say, African people. That and so, what do we do in this moment? Do you think when that love is not reciprocated, but actually is met by hatred and even violence?
Okay, remember I said that they, whoever they are, don't have to love us. What they have to do is to respect us. And the whole of my dissertation, if you like, at that time was based on the fact that you have, whoever you are, I may love you, but you had better respect us. And respect comes in many different ways, and we're going to talk about those ways and get to the crux of reparations and why reparations is important, etc.
Okay, so well, let's just get down to that then. If I mean, we may look back because there are other things I want to ask you, but in your talk, reparations was central to what you think needs to be demanded right now. Talk us through that. Why is it central? Who do those demands go to? How are they met?
Well, nothing new is comfortable. If you go to a club, which is where my whole life was spent, and the James Brown's new song came on, you couldn't dance to it because he would have put a whole new swing on the one. Having been a real student of all kinds of music, I understand how and why that happens. Everyone's soul is put on a dial at a certain number. Depending on which number you're on will depend on how quickly you pick up the groove. Everybody's got a groove. It's like I say, ring bang. It's the heart. It's the beat that you're born with. Everybody's heart don't beat at the same rate, but nevertheless, we're all alive. So when I look at the issue of reparations, and believe me, I'm not the first person to have spoken about reparations. Reparations has been spoken of from the very first day that the white man supposedly freed us. The very next day, somebody would have said, so boss, what happened? What happened with the money, star? That. However he would have applied it, whether he's American, say, hey man, I've been working so long, brother, you didn't give me nothing, whatever it is, it would have been said or acted out. It hasn't. It's a shame. It's been a very, very long time. I mean, it's been disgustingly long. And there's been so many lies told about reparation. If I had come 5 years ago and said what I'm saying now, there would have been, and there still is, but there would have been a tremendous outpouring of hate, distaste, disgust, and calling me a liar, and so on. But now that the white man is backed into the corner, he's backed into the corner by the truth, not facts, because we've always been given facts. Facts and truth are not the same thing. So now he is backed into a corner with the truth. So what does he do? He does what is natural to him. Hey, we know black people, Africans. He don't call us Africans. We're black as far as he's concerned. It's not good, that term. It's not good. And if you find me digressing from time to time, it's the way my mind works. I'm hearing things into my head that says I must say it now. The word black is no good for us. Do we call Indians black? And they're blacker than us. You get the Madrasis and people like that, they're blacker than us. There are people, I've seen a white man who has demonstrated more melanin than me when he goes into the sun. So the white man has to accept that I call him a white man because he hasn't given me an alternative that is meaningful to me. Now, he would have turned around and said, oh my God, just give him some money now. Give him $200 million from a university somewhere, or give him $1 trillion from some other corporate group. But what I'm saying, I've been brought to you now by the God of this world, by nature, by the thing that rules us all. Doesn't matter how powerful you are, that thing has brought me to you now. At this point, I'm not even speaking on behalf of my Guyanese Reparation Committee. I'm speaking with the voice of the maker. I'm speaking the truth. You have lied to us for so long. You have hurt us so bad. There is just no way back. The only way is forward. If you say you love me, as I've said, I love the whole world. Whether you were a slave driver, a slave owner, or whoever it is, I've come to love you. I've come to understand you. What I haven't come to do is to sell out the value of the respect that my people deserve. And that you can only show through logic, the logic of this world, the logic of the earth, the logic of the animals, the logic of the trees. We have worked incessantly for you over a protracted period of time. It can no longer be discussed in terms of pounds, shillings, and pence, or dollars and cents, or whatever. It has to do with equity. We are now your partners in what you have done. Everything that you have done, excuse me, Gary, because I know you were going to jump in there. Everything that you have done since having met my forefathers and my foremothers, everything that you have done since then to us and with us belongs in some measure to us. And there has been precedent where it has been exercised. So don't tell me bullshit.
So I want to ask you first, what do you mean by equity? What do you mean by partnership? What does that look like?
What it looks like is really quite simple. And when I'm finished talking here, whoever's seen it will run out and make up their own mind as to what degree of nonsense I have spoken. This is not nonsense, brother. This is coming from the air. This is what every African should have been saying since time. But we got so focused on the white man and his money that he could buy us again. He's bought us again. Right now, we all belong to him. The first thing is to dispense with his law. It's his law, not ours. So if you're looking to go to his law or his legal institution for equity, you just ain't gonna get it. You know you ain't gonna get it because it's his. It is now for us to take our time, because it's not only me talking. There are many, many great people, many great minds, many, many great philosophies as well out there that are African. We have first of all got to acknowledge that we are and that we must as a group, come together, just like the white people have done. The European Union, they've got their lodges and all kinds of things they have got, because they understand that in order to be strong, it's the old finger thing. You know, if you got one finger, not strong. Two fingers, not strong. But when you got this, it's impossible to bend. So they have understood that for a long time. We haven't been schooled in that.
White people have wars between themselves, though, Eddie.
Black people have had wars. Black people have had wars too.
Yes.
You see,
so they don't just come together, though, do they?
No, but understand this. Every time I put this issue to somebody who is black but with a white brain, or white with a white brain, they bring up the same thing. They say, hey, you know, you guys fight as well. You guys even sold some of your brothers to us. I say, yeah, and so? And oh, and there's always been slavery. And so, brother, if I started to add up the things that have never happened in history to a human being, white people would cry. I mean, and some of them are crying now. Let me say up front, I have many white friends, very, very good white friends. I have teachers who have taught me who were white, who taught me some good and some or most lies, because they were not involved in putting together the lies. The lies is a part of a system. So I don't hate anybody, and so I don't hate them. I don't even blame them for teaching me wrong, because the change is coming. I'm going to come and go. Others, because this ain't going to happen overnight, but it's something for us now to deliberate upon, think very serious upon. What do we want? Do we want to continue this program, or do we want to get back on the flat, on the level, so that we can deal as God, nature, meant us to be, not racists and whatever other names have been put to hate.
So going back to your original point there, what is this partnership? What is this equity? What does it look like? You're saying reparations, but you're saying we're not interested in your money?
Stop.
John?
We're not interested in your money. You see, this is the thing about communication. Yes, I say, we're not interested in your money. We're interested in our money. We're interested in that which we have worked for. And once people understand the concept, they will understand how fair and how human it is. Our people, I say our people, the Africans, have been made afraid of white people and their systems, their forms of governance, their laws. They're punitive. They're not in any way in our favor. But then I suppose it's normal that if you're a Spurs fan and you go to Tottenham, you'll be shouting for Tottenham. I mean, it'll be unusual that you'll be shouting for Manchester United or somebody else. So everyone has a certain degree of love for himself, or should. But that's one of the crimes that can be laid at the feet of the slave owners. It is that they took out our brains, physically sometimes, and metaphorically other times. They removed the essence of who we are and replaced it with the essence of who they are. But remember, we cannot be, because our very DNA is fighting the thing that they've put inside there. So we are really technically mad. I said this many years ago on Jamaican radio with Dermot Hussey, and People called in and said, how you mean? Do you mean that the prime minister is mad? And this, yes, we're all mad. We're all like alcoholics. And there are no doctors that can cure an alcoholic. Only another alcoholic can do that. So it requires that Africans get their shit together, wherever they are, and understand that this is something that is so serious. It is endemic in them and will not go. Doesn't matter how white they paint their face or whatever it is endemic in them, and it needs to be dealt with as of now. Start to teach your children that which you know. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid somebody will call you a racist, because it's hard for us to be a racist. Racism is a system, a power system. You have to have power over the person that you're exercising racism on. So there are all of these side issues that comes into play, but forget it. Let us deal with equity and distribution of wealth and trying to go back onto a road where we have an interest. That interest, as you would know, you look at the stock market and what have you, all of those things have to be taken into account. We must become equity partners in this world with those who enslaved us. And that is fair. That is fair. Anything else is unfair. It can be worked out.
So you don't trust the laws. It's not going to happen through the law. So then how is that going to happen?
When you say the law, it's like saying the queen. There are many queens, but everybody says the queen. Why the hell? There's a queen in Ethiopia who is the supreme queen. So the law is, the Englishman puts it very nicely. He says the law is an ass, but I can put it even nicer than that. The law does not exist. It is a figment of one man's imagination of how to deal greedily with another man who may not have his station. 15th century England. It's a terrible time, terrible place. Laws coming from that, and they have just made them much more refined, and they've given them to us so that we are crazy when we go into our courts. We are speaking as my learned friend, and it's bullshit. It is, with all due respect, it is bullshit. We cannot use that law to judge ourselves. You're going to a man who has made a law against you and those like you. Never will that law work for you. It hasn't worked since time for us.
So then how's it going to happen? Because in change is going to come, you say protesting in the streets is okay, but it's not going to change anything. You suggest that people withdraw their vote because these people have nothing to do with you. So how do we get to this place?
Really quite simple. If we stop thinking like we are thinking now. Everything that we require, we go to white people. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to white people because white people are just like us. They're human beings, most of them, you know. But in a mendicant situation, that's not good. And invariably, because they control the money system, our leaders and others have to go to them supplicant, begging for that which we require. And invariably, most of what we require, we already have. All the medications, all the foods, all the material from the earth, the great air, the beautiful water. What else the hell do we want? We've got it already. It is that we have to recognize that we do have it. Right now, just to stick a fine pin on a point, you have China gives money to these African countries and decides, you haven't paid the money back, we'll take an airport. That's what I'm talking about. That is equity. That is what we should be thinking about. We should be thinking 500 years or more, all this work, we've made all this money for you, you've taken that money and invested it, and whatever it is, and you've got IBM, and you've got all these things, and what's ever quoted on the, we don't want to take it away from you. Just sign here that we, as from today, will get 60% of what it is, because work is hard. Those people didn't take old men to our countries. They took young, they took the best of Africa, the best young women to breed. They took the best, they weakened Africa, so much so that Africa is now mendicant and has educated Africans who are educated against their own people and taking the people's money and fetching it to a white country, which is called Switzerland, or whichever one it is. We are mad. We are mad. So it needs that reorientation process. We have to get together. We have to speak. Powwow, baby, powwow.
So, so these are the things you say we have to do. And yet, in the words of the abolitionist, 19th century abolitionist, Frederick Douglass, he said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will. So how do we, nobody's going to give you 60% of IBM. Nobody's going to say, yes, here's the wealth that we stole. So how do you do that? What's the process? You're not going to march. You say march is not going to change anything. Voting's not going to change anything. So how does this happen?
Do you know how we got free, so to speak?
Yes.
It's not a nice thing, is it? Listen, I'm speaking my heart. Everybody in this world knows you've done us this tragic thing. I mean, beyond all reason. You killed a few Jews, with all due respect.
6 million, more than a few.
Well, no. Relative to us, it's a few.
Fortunately, it's not a competition.
And I make no. We must understand ourselves. You know, I have Jewish friends, lots of them. And I'm always talking about what I'm talking about now. So you understand that there ain't no Thomism or bullshitism here. The reality of it is that 6 million Jews died and the world is still crying. Hundreds of millions of Africans died. And not only died, a Jew can still go and find his name. We cannot. We cannot reorientate ourselves to who we were. This great, magnificent set of people who were able to build magnificent structures. And today we are idiots running to Harvard to learn something that was already learned. We are crazy, man. So it requires us all as crazy people, just like Alcoholics Anonymous, to get together and say the words, hey, brother, My name is Eddy Grant, and I am an alcoholic. I am mad. I've been made mad by white people who chose to enslave us. We start there. Brother, once you see the numbers aggregate, the white man himself is going to come. You won't have to go to him because he will recognize, first of all, we're going to breed more than him. So even if it takes 200 years, 300 years, the issue is not about getting a hustle money now. You can't get a hustle money now from a person that says he hates you or shown that he hates you. Just like how Coffee and Damon and Bossa and Toussaint and the Salinas, all of these people understood what it takes to be in that position. And they got there. Pain took them there. But that's the platform upon which we stand. If you don't want pain, then fine, let us just continue as we are. We've got countries that can feed the world. Why are we buying so much crap from America and all these other places? You see, the more you depend on a man or a woman or anybody for food, for clothes, for things that you don't need, you become enslaved. So you got to tell me, all the people, my fans, my friends out there who are listening to me, are we enslaved still or not? The country that I'm in and the area that I'm in, they import maybe 90% of what they eat or what they imbibe. Are you crazy? Guyana can feed the whole entire Caribbean and some. Why do you think they're fighting for it now? Because it's got clean air, it's got the jungle, it's got more water than it knows what to do with. It's got oil, which everybody thinks is the be all and end all, but we've always had expensive things, gold, diamonds. We've got timber. You know, you've got to sit down and work out, what do you need against what do you want? This is what makes you a slave. If you don't pay attention to those two things, you become enslaved. And this has got us right now, because right now as I'm talking, you got a brother up in America, hey man, what's he talking about, that shit, man? I gotta get me a brand new Bentley shit, man. And you don't need it. We've got to find out what we need and buy that. And invariably that will come from ourselves, among ourselves. There's nothing racist about this. All that I'm talking, other people are doing right now, looking after themselves. And then I could be a friend of yours for real, and you could be a friend of mine for real. Right now, I'm just being a friend of yours. I'm loving you, like my grandson said. Love the whole world. But the whole world has got to come to a point where it respects me first. Then tell me about love.
So this is my last question before I'm going to go to some of the questions that have been on Facebook. And that is that, to take that last point that you made, I just want you to elaborate on your views on one of the more extraordinary things, I think, about this most recent rebellions and marches was the number of young white people who were on them. That wasn't so much the case in the civil rights era and in other times. And I know that you have an opinion about that, and in Change is Gonna Come, you said you haven't done anything, you still haven't done anything to show that you respect us. And so I'm thinking, what they are marching, they are involved in all of the rebellions involved again, around Black Lives Matter. So how would they show that they respect us?
Brother man, it really is very simple, and I'm amazed that you haven't caught on. Respect isn't walking with me in the street. Has nothing to do with it. You walk in the street, you walk in the street, you walk in the street every day. Respect is a whole concept. It is a whole concept.
To be fair,
Racism,
walking in the street and marching in the street are two different things, aren't they?
same thing. It's like going to a festival. You know,
Like
that's what's happening.
You get tear gassed.
Yeah. Well, no. Listen, you look into France, you look into all those other countries. White people do that quite normally. They have no reason to be tear gassed, but they're tear gassed. Their own people show them no respect. And so when I'm talking about people showing respect to Africans, it's manifold. It is not about walking in the streets. There are lots and lots and lots of ways to show respect to me and my people. You go to the bank. You're going to the bank. Why are you going to the bank when Africa's got so much money, so much worth? But you, in order to keep me in my condition, you make it so punitive that I have to give you all that I've got to buy a tractor. And I said very much in that thing that I said on YouTube, that what happens with us is that we are looking to white people to solve our problems. I may not have said it in exactly the same terms, but that's what we are doing. You don't need them out in the streets with you. You need more Black people. You understand? This is not to negate those white people who've been in the streets, because they've been in the streets with Martin Luther. They were in the streets in the time of Frederick Douglass. There have always been white people who have shown mercy for Black people. It's because their belly couldn't stand what they were seeing done to Black people. Today, it's worse. Today, I have machines that can pick you out wherever the hell you are and kill you. We don't have those things. Respect? Maybe we should have those things. And then they would respect us like they respect the Russians. Why is it that Africans don't have the bomb? Ask yourself the question. Everybody else, every racial group has got the bomb. I read a letter the other day from a fan of mine who said maybe the Black guys who have got money should do something. And I had to point out to her, Black guys who have money don't have money. They're just paid gatekeepers. They will not say anything. I don't blame them. Yeah, you got your right to do what you want to do, you know. But at the bottom of it, understand that it won't change in that way.
So here are a couple of questions from Facebook, from viewers. I'm going to put two together, so give me a moment. Kerry Thomas Armstrong, I'm not sure where she's from, says, how do we begin to unlearn the education that was specifically designed to control us? And then along with that, if I've butchered your name, I'm sorry, Natabaleng Adolphine Mofolo says, colonialists also stole our knowledge so that we know nothing about ourselves. How do we then relearn the essence of who we are if even our history books portray the wrong image of Africans? So you can see there are two overlapping questions there.
Okay, Kerry, look at a dog or an elephant or a tiger. They have been brainwashed or had their brains taken out and put in a human brain. Dance boy, jump boy, whatever it is. One day, the lion goes to the trainer, tears his throat out. Where did that come from? That comes from his internal DNA. He is always a tiger, always. It just requires him to be reminded of the fact. And a human being doesn't care a damn about the tiger. That's why they killed so many of them. The human being doesn't care. As far as he's concerned, once the tiger's putting his foot up and dancing to the music, good boy, okay, away you go. It's the same with human beings. Human beings are not special. Whoever said that God created man in his own image and gave him dominion over all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air and the fish of the sea? Are you crazy? That's man talking. That's white man talking. Let's be real. Let's be real. If you're white, check it out. I have white friends who are priests and I was going to say popes, but I don't have a friend who's a pope. Yet. You know, I have friends who are what they call highly learned. And when we sit down to talk about this stuff, oh, Eddie, yeah, but you have to understand it was a control mechanism. Of course it's a control mechanism, but the control mechanism was on your side. You should have made God looking nice and black, like me, you know, and then I have a song called Jesus Has Got a Face Looking Just Like Me. You don't know it, do you? Of course you don't know it, because they won't play it. If you go to Guyana, they'll play it sometimes. But everywhere else, they won't play it. The fact of the matter is, what you say, it's like visualizing. What you say, you can bring into being. Now, education is, as I say, a son of a bitch. Because everybody who has been learned cannot unlearn very easily. But we have to, as I said, as alcoholics, the alcoholic can hardly stand up straight, let alone do work. But together, our madness can bring us out of the madness. Trust me.
So a question from Guyana, Keen Jeffers, who says, when will we fight for our books and ancient artifacts that hold our rich history and knowledge? For I think this is the first step to the reparations.
Well, there are many first steps, and it might as well be that too. But always remember, you are dealing with a beast who, and he has to be a beast to have done what he's done. I mean, I'm trying to find nice words to say, but God is telling me there is no nice word. If you can treat me like this, with impunity, and degraded me, had me shitting myself in front of my children as you beat me, and all the other indiscriminate things that you have done to me, you cannot be anything but a beast. So that DNA is still running about. He's not going to want to give you your books back. But your court, the court of Black African madness, must determine the degree of your guilt. That's the first thing. Hey, nobody's saying in no terms that the white man who has enslaved us is guilty. No, they want to tell you, I'm sorry. Are you kidding? People say I'm sorry 1,000,000 times a day. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, love. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's sorry like love has lost its meaning. So we should not be even discussing sorry anymore. Let's get to the next stage, the real stage. Establish a court of our own, the African Court of Reparation, not the poxy thing in The Hague, or that's their thing. That's where they carry you, you idiot. That's where they carry you. Whenever it is that you talk like me or whatever it is, they carry you there. They put some kind of shit in your hand or in your bag or in your house, or they do something to you and you end up there. Or they bribe you with your people's money and you end up there. Why do you want to go there? Get your own court together. Say, hey, as from today, we have the goods on you.
And Tabaling Adolfin Mofolo against, and this speaks a bit to your previous point, how realistic is the idea of an independent Africa in the face of overwhelming corruption among our African leaders?
Well, that as well is a truism, because there are African leaders who are not thieves, and I can think of a number of them. And I can think of a number of them who have wanted Africa to unite. And I can think of a number of them who fought incredible wars against white enslavers and died and gone. I can think of those who have been bought out by agencies out of America and England and wherever to destroy their brother. But we have to let them know, just like our white people let their own know. Hey, you see all of this mass of people, we now constitute the new Africa. You will not, first of all, you ain't sending nobody to Sandhurst, because that's where they're gonna learn the art of stealing from their people. That's where they're gonna learn the art of buying unnecessary drill material to put on to make themselves look like asses. You have to start gently. How did I start? There was a man called U.C. Kwayana. I revere his name. There was a man called Forbes Burnham. I revere his name. Both of these chaps at different times had their differences, but I took the best of them both. When U.C. Kwayana was talking to me, he was not even meant to be talking to me, because in those days, little children, as they say, had to know their place. And I would be sitting underneath the bottom house of my dear aunt's house, picking out the white out of her hair because she didn't like the idea that she was getting old. And U.C. Kwayana would come into all the black villages, African villages, and he's the first person I heard say the word African. And remember, I am a prodigious reader. I mean, I read books like you go to the bathroom, you know? I read seriously. And at the age of about 7 or 8, U.C. Kwayana came into Plaisance. And under the bottom house of my dear aunt, he was speaking to young boys who were like 16 upwards. And so I'm not meant to be listening. But as I'm picking out the white hairs, you know, I hear something, change your name, do this, do that. I'm saying, what kind of nonsense this man talking about as I'm picking out the bloody hair? Ouch, oh, pay attention, boy. Yes, 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 dear, and so on and so forth. And I listened to this man. I was looking forward to him coming every Sunday and hearing about this Africa. Didn't know what the hell it meant, where it was, and why these guys should have African names. I wrote the song, Kidada. If you check my entire discography, you will see who I am and see from whence I came and what my real thoughts are. You may be dancing, but next time, listen. That's where it starts. One person who has got that DNA moment. And in my later years, Forbes Burnham, who tried to show our people that they could do without. And they could, by planting and using that which they have, become one of the greatest nations in the world. He knew we had oil, but he said, it doesn't matter because we've got gold right now and it doesn't matter. The world outside America and its Kavakamites saw to it that our country, like Robert Mugabe's Zimbabwe, was brought to its knees, a country whose money was 4-1 when Forbes Burnham died. Today it's 210 going up into the sky. Well, now that we've got oil and the Americans feel that they can take it away from us, or in fact, take over the country with all the nonsense that's going on now, we may be able to redress that matter. We may even get back to 1-1.
So I want to ask a question now before I go back to the Facebook ones, which is when you talk about America taking the oil, it's really corporations taking oil, multinational corporations taking the oil. And the one thing that you haven't mentioned that I'd be interested to hear your views on is capitalism and how capitalism fits in or doesn't fit in to this worldview of yours.
Isms and schisms, Gary, don't interest me because communism is exactly the same as capitalism. At the heights of communism, you have extremely wealthy people who, I don't know what they need all that amount of money for. They'll die and leave it, you know. And it's the same in America. The Republicans are money hounds, greedy, because they're the ones who create this problem. Them, the Democrats, same thing. And you got Africans in America choosing sides. Well, what's wrong with you? You've got 46 million of you and a phenomenal amount of money. What the hell are you waiting for? Why do you make these people believe that they own you? Worst of all, the Democrats, I'm not a crat or a ism or a pism or whoever, but they historically are the ones that beat the shit out of your parents. Let somebody tell me I'm wrong. And you all are dancing to their tune. Hey, baby, you know, what's happening? We're going into the House of Congress and we're going to do this. Come on, man. It's all the same thing.
So you'd say Donald Trump is the same thing as Obama?
Brother man, you're going into very sensitive territory there. Obama is half of me. The other half of Obama belongs to somebody else. But Obama's children is going to be all of me. So whatever it is that Obama has done or caused to have been done, that is his problem. He has to live with that. We like Obama because he's a brother. And we have never had a brother in the White House. That's reason for celebration. But stop. Hey, Jack Johnson, you know, they had him tied down there, man. The greatest boxer of all time outside of Muhammad Ali. They had him tied down there. Free him up, brother, free him up. Marcus Garvey, man, the greatest black man ever lived. Free him up, man. No, I can't do that. What is it that you can do then? And there are so many other things. It's not just a nice suit, flying in Air Force One or whatever it is. I mean, his wife had a lovely time. She's a nice girl. She's made nice children. You know, I mean, let us be reasonable. Let us be reasonable. He is a part of a system, like we all are a part of a system. If we're in England, if we're in the Caribbean, if we're in Russia, you know, we're all in a part of a system. So you can't blame no one man. Just like you can't blame Obama, you can't blame Trump, you can't blame Carter, you can't blame Reagan. They have been taken out of a community of miscreants, thieves, cutthroats, enslavers. There were black enslavers too, you know. Only that they didn't have the methodology for removing our brains. So their brains got removed in the end. All their children and their children's children had to come and suffer the same shit that they made others suffer. God is great.
So just a couple more questions. This one from Hilary Thomas. What about the African power trifecta that the Liberian political philosopher Blyden was promoting in the 19th century? And that trifecta, he says, or she, I'm not sure, Africa, the Caribbean, and African America. What do you think of that power cohort, if you like?
Peter Tosh said it best. Peter was not my most favorite artist, but Peter Tosh said it best. Wherever you are, once you're a black man, you are an African. We don't have to cut it up. The Indians don't cut it up. The Chinese don't cut it up. Wherever you are, you have to subscribe to your mother or father country. It's as simple as that. Hillary, that's how it is.
Okay. And then I think this is Tabeleng Adolfo Mofolo again. This is, or it may be the music file, I'm not sure, but it says the issue of reparations for slavery is a current topic of discussion in the US. Is there any discussion of reparations from the colonial powers for the immense damage they did to Africa? So are they talking about this in Britain or Belgium? Or?
Are you expecting Britain to be talking about what's good for us? Or are you expecting America to be talking about what's good for us? We in the Caribbean are talking about what's good for us. All, I hope. All, because I've been listening to all our people talking, you know, and it seems to get stopped at money. You know, we are so desperate because of COVID-19. Who the hell brought COVID-19 in the first place? Not us, not Africa. Everything that's bad comes out of Africa. But this son of a bitch did not come from us. And we are punishing because of it, because we have been used to paying so much money to bring in things, to feed the tourists and what have you. Yes, we have problems. We have problems. But at the bottom of it, understand, there ain't nobody going to solve our problems but us.
Okay, so I think the last question.
I was getting to like it. I really was getting to like it, Gary, because, I don't speak to my people. I mean, when I say my people, I'm going to qualify it. All the people who like me, all the people who like my music, all the people who may have misunderstood my lyrics or not understood quite, because I got emails from a person in one of the Balkan countries who said, "Oh, dear Eddie, we love you so much," and so on, but why are you attacking white people? My country has never had slavery. Well, I say, thank God, your country is great. Nice. I'm not talking to your country, but if you're interested in listening to me, by all means, listen.
So this one's, it would seem that freedom fighters of the caliber of Nelson Mandela and Thomas Sankara are needed for the endeavors which you described. Do we have such individuals in this day and age?
Yes, you're talking to one. I've been fighting this fight from the age of 17, brother, in the only way that I knew how. As time has gone, and I've gotten wiser, I'm 72 today, almost too old to be thought of as a freedom fighter. But my brain is God's gift to our people. And it is the one area that has not been looked at. I don't mean in a medical way, but in terms of our people, in how, what are our dreams? What do we really want to happen? The think tank. We need many think tanks. And there are guys right now in this Caribbean too, who are that level of freedom fighter. Problem is money. They always get trapped with money. For some reason, they come to believe that they need all this money, and so they have to go and imprison themselves with institutions and so on, who are, even as we speak, fighting against us in the Caribbean, because their correspondent banking issues render us all drug pushers down here. That's basically what they're saying by doing what they have done. We have a lot of problems in the Caribbean as Africans. We are not wealthy people down here. I know in Africa, there are some. I know in India, there are some. Some of the Indian money comes down to the Indians here. The white money comes down to the white down here. The Africans don't even know where Guyana is. So you see, there's a massive problem of recognition of self, love of self. And if Nkrumah knew where Barbados was through Padmore, and knew where Jamaica was through Garvey, these are the people on whose shoulders he stood on to become the great Nkrumah, the great binder, the man who said, Africa must unite. He didn't just say it as a title of a song like Bob Marley. He said it because he knew what was coming down the road. He knew what was coming down the road. They can't kill us all. Doesn't matter how many bombs and guns they have. I remember Dick Gregory saying, maybe about 40 odd years ago, if the Chinese decide to sing, "We Shall Overcome," they won't need to send the bomb to America. They will bring it, physically march it to wherever they want. So we have many things in our favor. We are loving people. We don't go and start wars with anybody. Waste of time. But people are starting wars with us, against us, and within us. It won't work anymore. They'd have to kill me because I keep on talking. For whatever reason, God has given me the ability to write these songs. I will keep on writing and I will keep on talking. It is appointed to every man, Gary, once to die. And the coward dies twice.
I am reminded, just winding up here, of a conversation that I had. A speaker was talking about Malcolm X, and he said, Malcolm X, every day he wore his funeral suit. Every day he was prepared to die. Every day he understood that the clothes that he put on might be the clothes that he died in, and that is the kind of that is the mindset.
That's right.
Of a revolutionary, that that you are constantly prepared for death.
Our people take these words and they give them special meanings. Revolutionary is only somebody who wants to bring about social change, equity, reason, something that doesn't exist in his or her environment or in the world. That's all that a revolutionary is. Revolutionaries don't have to carry guns and don't have to stand up on the street corner firing. Very important thing for us to recognize at this time, Gary. I don't know if you have children.
I do.
How old are they?
7 and 13.
Okay. Can you imagine losing your 13-year-old child now? It would bring you completely to a standstill. You know why? Because the 13-year-old is almost a man or a woman. And it is those age groups that builds nations. When the white people came to Africa looking for slaves, they were not looking for people that was 35 and 45. That age, you're dead as a slave. It's amazing that Bassa is supposed to have lived to 42 years old. I'm still not convinced that he's dead. But this is a serious thing that's happening to Africans, especially in America. Our children are being taught to kill each other. And at the age when they're most useful to the community. So you got all these old people dying from COVID-19 and any other thing that anyone decides to bring onto us. And you've got this massive destruction going on. Why? Because of a Nike shoe or some fancy piece of bling or whatever. How did we ever get so far down the line? We got to start there. We got to start there.
Eddy, I want to thank you. It's been just over an hour. Equity, equality. We've been to the Caribbean, we've been to Africa, we've been to America, we've been to Europe, we've been to the past, the present, and the future. You've spoken your truth. I've questioned you about that truth and prodded you at times to kind of explain a bit more. I hope that the people who are still watching us on Facebook feel more educated about what you think. I was impressed by the list and the way that you put together Padmore and Nkrumah and Desailly and Toussaint, and the way that you wove in and out of a range of references. I'm also possibly more impressed by the fact that you are 71. You look good.
72.
72.
Going to 73.
72.
Yes.
You look good. You look good. More power to your elbow, to your voice, to your brain. I'd like to thank people who watched. Like to thank you, Eddy, for sharing and for joining us.
And I'd like to thank you, Gary, uh, for being this interlocutor and a friend across the internet. I know that I'm not available too much on this thing to the people who, as I said, like me, love the music I make, which is the most important. Every message is in my music. I am in my music. And I've been doing that for over 50 years. I make no apologies to anyone, black, white, or indifferent, for anything that I've said. What I've said are not facts, they're the truth. The truth never changes. This is why we're here 500 years later talking about reparation. It would have been better had they done the reparation thing the day after releasing our four parents. Now look where we are. Are we going to spend another 500 years? Because it can happen. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Thanks, people.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.